Welcome again to Washington Square Park. Because you'll never leave here alive.
Well, I decided to become a performer because in order to work creatively as a musician and to really have the kind of interaction necessary, I found it necessary to have an audience. And so it wasn't enough just to be practicing and playing and singing around the campfire. If I really wanted to make a connection with music, I had to have people out there that were actually taking in what it is I was doing.
I became a street performer when I saw another street performer. I thought it was a great idea. I think it was a juggler. I was right out of high school, and I came in with my parents to see a Broadway play, and I saw a juggler up at Times Square. And I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. He's just doing his thing and making money and passing the hat. You know, he doesn't need a stage, really. The sidewalk is his stage.
All right, Alex, where are you from?
Dayton, Ohio.
Sorry?
Ohio?
I heard you. I'm saying sorry. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
I've been doing magic since I was 8 years old.
Gentlemen, we have a fine, we have a fine French-made jacket, I see. Penet, J.C. Penet. Okay. All right, here we go. Alex, have you ever seen the one where the magician takes a jacket and then takes the sticker? Alex, don't worry. I've done this before, actually. Once. Here we go. Put your finger in there. Make sure there's wrong finger, Alex. We're in New York. Okay, that's enough. All right. Now, Alex, can you see without the glasses?
Can I see?
Without the glasses?
Yeah, I can see.
Why do you wear them? Alex, here we go. Should I do it? No! Yeah, do it. Is that your father saying no? Or what? Do it. What, it was your coat before? Okay, here we go. Do it. Yeah. All right. Well, look at it this way. It's a smoking jacket. Smoking. It'll be a blazer pretty soon. All right, forget the bad jokes. Here we go, Alex. I'm just going to make sure it's out. Oh, my God. Look at that. Snap my fingers. Wave my hand. Go ahead. Wave your hand, Alex. Doesn't really do a damn thing. Oh, you do that so well. With that pink shirt, too. All right, here we go. Watch this, folks. An absolute miracle. It never existed. The cigarette never went inside.
When I was in second grade, I got a B for conduct. I got straight A's in everything else. And it was because I made the class laugh.
Oh, boy. Just relax, Carol. Okay, don't worry, okay? Don't worry. Boy, you're very petite. Marina, wait a minute. Don't move around, Carol. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. You and me. And don't worry, because if you fall down, I will pick you up. Oh. No. I gotta take a break. Hold on, don't squeeze too hard, okay?
Okay.
Really? For a second, I could hear the ocean. All right, ready? Okay. Ready? Set. Go! Out!
The landlord I lived with in Philadelphia actually had a unicycle, and that's the first thing I started. I just started doing it just for pleasure and trying to learn it. And then I realized that it was a lot of fun. That's all I was doing, is riding my unicycle, listening to music, and having a good time. I had an offer for a circus in Santa Barbara, California, and they hired me over the phone, sight unseen. And from there on, I stayed with them for 2 years, traveling around the country, doing schools, high schools, grammar schools, colleges, and pretty much learning most of my craft that way.
It's one of the best places in New York to work, and certainly it's one of the best places in the world, because it's like a natural amphitheater. Like, you can have 4 or 5 rows sitting. You have a crowd of about 500 people. I went to this high school, and I didn't like going to high school, so all I did is juggle and hang out and not go to school. And then I had a friend who street performed, so I started street performing, doing Broadway intermissions. And then 2 years later, I started working in this park. But that's how I started.
I practice this at my other job, at the daycare center. Now, this is hard to believe. There's over 500 people watching. Not one of you said, "Stop it." What kind of people are you? I know what it must be. Are there any New Yorkers in the crowd? Give me a round of applause, New Yorkers. If you folks want to see this, everybody say, "Smash him." All right, don't move, Bradford. Don't move and you won't get hurt. Don't move. Don't move. Sony, Toyota, Kawasaki. How many of you folks would like to see that again? Let's give the little Brad a round of applause. Give him a round.
Street performing was a way for me to perform. I came here to audition for musical theater, to be part of the indoor theater, and I was in a slight accident. I had to stop dancing, which was one of my major fortes. I was a dancer and I was auditioning for theater. So I stopped and just sort of backed out of it slowly to a point where I wasn't doing anything.
All that I have ever learned about love tells me it's a very funny thing. Oh, when your heart is fancy-free, you hope some man will choose it. But oh, the spin you find you're in, very moment that you lose it. Once you lose your heart, once somebody takes it from the place it rested in before.
I was not performing and I was extremely unhappy. I was working in an office typing, and at night I was bartending, and I was an unhappy person. I think because I've been in New York like 6 years almost, and for most of those 6 years I auditioned and I took class, but I really didn't get to perform, which is why I came here. And now I'm getting to perform, and for a performer, that's pretty amazing.
Well, basically it was an accident. There were some really pitiful break dancers down here in the park. They had their cardboard out, and they were falling down. It looked like they were falling down, only to music. And I had taken to occasionally jumping a garbage can or two here,
just for I don't know what reason, because I had two skateboards, my freestyle board and my regular board. Basically, it's an old trick. I saw pictures of kids in magazines in the late 70s jumping over the trash after they'd taken it out, I guess. And I noticed that the people who were watching these pitiful breakdancers were now sort of watching me on the side. And someone said, hey, jump 3. So I jumped 3. And then someone said, hey, jump 4. And then I jumped 4. And then someone said, jump 5. And I jumped 5. And then someone said, hey, you could get money for this. And I noticed these people were applauding and stuff. So I ran to a garbage can and took out a brown paper bag and went around and asked for money. Basically, I was here at school at NYU. And due to Reagan coming into office, I lost one of my state grants, and my federal grants. And I had to come up with more money, and I was a day student here. So this enabled me to work 1 hour a day and make, you know, 40, 50 bucks.
Let's say I trip over the first can. I'll slide over these other garbage cans and then be ripped in half, head first, by this jagged edge. Let's imagine this is me. First can is my brain. Okay, when we put my brain into my head, this is what can take place. I trip on the first can. Oh no! I'm gonna go head first in that jagged line punch can. Ah! And hopefully that won't take place. As I go over this jump, I'm going to blow 6. No, actually, I'm going to blow 11 concentric smoke rings. That's right, 11 smoke rings. I'm going to puff the first smoke ring here, and I'm going to proceed to puff the next 10 smoke rings in rapid, machine gun succession. Puff, 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 through that first smoke ring. And then I'm going to dive through 11 smoke rings as they expand. And remember, you kids in the audience, finish school so you don't end up doing something stupid like this for a living. Garbage can jumping, they look glamorous, but it's not all it seems to be. Okay, it's a dirty, dirty job. Okay, here we go, folks. Go, go, go! Go, 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 go!
I have an emotional need to make these perfect strangers laugh at me. I have a need to make people laugh. Now, there are many people who say, well, I want to be a comedian, you know. Wanting to be a comedian and the emotional need to be a comedian is two different things. You know, many of us, we're able to make our family laugh, our friends, and various relatives imitate Uncle Fred, but you don't have to make Uncle Fred laugh. When I go out there, I have to make those people laugh or I don't survive. My entire existence depends on those people laughing.
I hold in my hand something that can get your ass kicked in New York. That's called a cigarette. See, anytime you walk down the streets of New York City now, as soon as you take out a cigarette, they got people giving you sign language. Yeah, it's your responsibility to subsidize that smoking habit. Some guys bum cigarettes like this. You know this guy? Hey, you got a cigarette? Hey, you got a look, they want a cigarette and you got to deliver the fucking cigarette. It's so bad walking through New York now. This is how I walk down the streets. No extra cigarettes, no spare change. 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 This is what you do to people that don't buy cigarettes. You're driving crazy. You'll love me for this. Hey, you got a cigarette? I do this. Sorry, I don't smoke. James Brown is singing I Feel Good, but you never believe it when you look at his face. Look at James Brown singing I Feel Good, but look at the brother's face. I feel good, like I knew that I would. I feel good, I gotta. Ooh, hey, I gotta. Ooh, James feels good. Looks like James did a laxative, don't he?
Fear is the main thing. I'm very afraid. Every time I walk out here, I'm afraid. It's like every day of my life, I'm auditioning. I have to please them in order for me to get their money. A quarter, or in most cases, $1, which to them is a big amount, you know.
Thank you
folks. I hope you liked my little show. And folks, if you like my show at all, and you'd like to help me go back to law school, any donations would really be appreciated. I'll come around, give whatever you can. Yo, bro, thanks, folks. Thank you, folks. Thank you for $30, $40 a show, you know, sometimes more.
Yeah, oh no, I make a good living. I really decide how much money I make. Because if I do, say I do 5 shows a day, and if I get, you know, at least $20 a show, it's $100 a day.
Yeah, I don't really like to talk about it too much. It's not as much as it seems because some of it does go to the IRS. I work Saturday and Sunday and don't work during the week, so I guess it's pretty good.
This is the only thing I do. I'm an actor. That's another reason I got into this, because acting, I realized, would be very hard for me to make my living. And I wanted something where I'd be in front of an audience, being able to perform and be able to express myself.
On a good day, you can make about $15 an hour, or I make about $15 an hour. I imagine I don't ask for money. So I'm not like some performers where they really try and rake it in. I just put it out there, and if people want to pay, that's all right. So I figure $15 is pretty good just for sheer generosity.
A lot of street performers will actually verbalize to people to move in, to come in and see their show. With what I do, because it's the mechanical singing doll, I feel like I would break the magic or the charm of it if I were to get off the music box and say, hey, you know, come here, I'm doing a show. So I don't say anything, and more than likely, and what's nice about it is people they have a choice that way. They're not commandeered over to your area. They can either look, you know, and walk by and take it in as they're continuing to walk by, or they can stop and watch.
You gotta learn endurance. Can you put your right foot forward? Your other right foot. All right, grasshopper. Endurance. Raise up on one leg. Arms into the air like this. All right, now stay up there. Stay up there. You gotta learn endurance. Just stay up there. You're doing fine. Stay up there. Stay up there. All right, let's get back to the show now.
Probably my favorite thing is the children. I think that because they are so accepting and they just love it. Even though they don't quite understand, I don't think they really quite, you know, there's a side to the music which is beyond them. They love that someone is out there doing something.
The amazing thing is I get sometimes more of an incredible reaction from adults than the children. If I have adults and children in my audience, everyone assumes that the children are the ones who are amazed. But a lot of times I get this actual drop jaw from adults, and it tickles me. It makes me love even more what I do.
Now, this stuff I do is very dangerous, but more so to other people. I know what I'm doing.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
I just hope I don't get in a terrible accident and I can't do anything like this anymore. That would be terrible.
For an added element of danger, I'll put banana peels around the skateboard. And one time I was jumping 6 garbage cans and I landed one foot on the skateboard, the other foot on the banana peel, and I did an unintentional split, and I can't do a split. And my body knew that, and I knew that, and the ankle in my bone, it didn't know that, and it snapped.
The hard thing actually, and particularly in the park, with the number of street performers that do come out, finding a spot can take a good bit of waiting.
Competition among other performers is pretty minimal. except, well, here in the park it's minimal, but except when I go up, say I would go to Times Square or somewhere else on the street, and there'd be a good spot on the sidewalk, and it's really whoever gets there first. But if there's been somebody working there for the past week, he would kind of, even though he wasn't there first, he would kind of like claim his territory.
Over the years, people have like specialized more. Like in the beginning, there were like 2 or 3 juggling acts, and now I'm doing more martial arts act, and I'm Master Lee, and doing comedy and more Asian kind of performance. Other people are doing more comedy juggling, and other people are just doing comedy. So it's more varied now.
We always have little clashes sometimes because to me, some of them go too long. Well, it seems to me they go too long because I'm anxious to get out there to work. Some of them will use your material. That's been my complaint sometimes. They use my technique, or use some of the jokes even, until I got to the point where I said, that's quite flattering. If you got something that somebody wants to use, that means you have a value.
In the old days, there used to be a thing where you'd set up a crowd and you have a crowd, and then the guy would set up right next to you and take away your crowd. And that's like ugly. But now we're a little bit more civilized about it. We talk about it.
You know, other performers and Hare Krishnas will occasionally come in right in the middle of my act and make a lot of noise and ignore me. And right this year, I'm just sort of timid, you know. Normally I would get kind of violent, but I'm letting everything get in my way this year. That happens. Jumping garbage is a rough way to go.
But then I have to get to the reality that this is a public park. And I forget it, because when I'm working, to me, that's the theater. This is my theater. But to the drunk, this is home to him. This is home. So in the middle of a routine, perhaps a drunk person will want to get into the act, or a hostile person, or 5 or 6 guys with spiked wristbands and tattoos that says, you know, born to kill, a Harley Davidson tattooed on the forehead. And you learn in advance who's going to give you trouble.
You gotta buy liquor and yeah! Now, sir, I'm working now. I don't have time to relate to you. Thank you very much. Go. Okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, shit. Excuse me.
And he approaches, people don't care about the joke anymore. They're interested in, well, what is he going to say about him?
So you're homeless? I mean, homeboy.
There's the occasional heckler, but even the heckler is a real useful tool in a way. The heckler demands that you pay attention to what you're doing. And if you're a really good performer, you'll use that.
Oh, stop. Sir, please. I don't know you. Just move back. I need a napkin from somebody in the crowd. Is anybody out there with a napkin? I like to use borrowed objects for people in the audience. An unused napkin, sir. Oh, I thought it was a booger, but it's not. All right, here we go. I need a napkin from somebody in the crowd. Please. Yes,
Well, there's one guy who occasionally will, one time he sneaked around my back and grabbed me like this. And I know some judo, I flipped him over, and he didn't bother me. He hasn't bothered me since then.
Never been arrested, you know. I try and just walk lightly on a policeman's space. Although most of them are pretty friendly. Generally it seems if some of them are having a bad day, they'll decide that I'm too loud and so I need to turn off my amplifier, which you're not really supposed to have. You're not really supposed to be amplified. About 10 years ago, they passed an ordinance where amplification was made illegal.
Nobody's ever been stopped that I know in the fountain. The police has to come into the fountain and they have to stop you in front of like 400, 500 people. And usually they're not that bold. When you're actually on the street, say like 6th Avenue or Columbus Avenue or something, the police do stop you and they're a lot meaner about it.
I was on the street once, and I was kind of a wise guy about 3 years ago, and a cop told me to move, and I said, why do I have to leave? And he didn't say anything. I said, why do I have to leave? He didn't say anything. I said, what do I have to read? Like he was deaf. And so that was a little too wise for him, so he took me down. I just got a desk appearance summons.
Oh, yes, I've actually been in a cell. I've been handcuffed, you know, for, I guess we call it a funny felony. I've actually been handcuffed, had my equipment confiscated.
Entertainers are harassed. And there's a history of this. I mean, there's a book written called Passing the Hat by Patricia Campbell a while back that dates a lot of entertainers that have always had run-ins with the law because we're not protected by the law, yet we can be harassed easily by police, often. The man with the gun has the power with us.
A live performer is one of the most vulnerable creatures on the earth, I think. It's rather like being naked.
I feel like I somehow am performing musical theater, even if they won't let me in the door inside the theater. You know, I'm still getting to do what I came here to do somehow.
I love an audience. I love performing. And as long as I can get a crowd, I'll be out here. You know, the day that doesn't happen anymore, I think it'll be pretty sad.
I'd like to do more comedy clubs. I just passed at the Improv, and I'd like to get on at the comic strip and just start doing more comedy clubs and less street work.
I want to perform in Las Vegas, Monte Carlo, in Paris, London, you know, the usual hopes and aspirations of any performer. It's what I love to do. Yeah, I plan on being a magician for the rest of my life.
Like, I can't explain the good feeling I get from being able to just to perform, and how lucky I feel to be able to perform, and that people like what I do, and that I feel like I can bring them something with my performing. So that's good for me right now, you know, and I'm willing to work and wait, and the more will come later, hopefully.
And basically, I hate the show so much that I have to try to amuse myself in the process of doing it. I planned on making a much larger sort of impact on the New York art scene, so, you know, I feel kind of destroyed by the fact that I'm doing this for a living.
Well, just because you're good at something and you're talented, it doesn't mean that the world owes you anything. Well, I've been out here for over 10 years and haven't gotten, quote, fame or recognition. A great man by the name of Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison for a great cause. And if this man, and many like him, can spend 27 years or many years in prison for a cause, I have very little room to complain about me spending a few years and making people laugh. I had this fantasy that I was going to be famous. I was going to be in Hollywood, TV, or whatever, and that never happened. Occasionally I've been on television, little news spots, but nothing that would make a big difference in my career, such as it is. So my satisfaction has been being grateful that I can get an audience and they will remember me. Many years from now, when I'm a very old man, I can walk around this park and many people will remember Albert Owens, he was funny.
And the beauty of working out here in the street is, you know, you could do it any time, and there's always somebody who needs to laugh or be entertained. So that's my job. I gotta do it.
All I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air, with one enormous chair, a world in it be lovely. Lots of chocolate for me to eat, lots of coal making lots of heat, warm face, warm hands, warm feet, a world in it be lovely. beauty.